be bailed them out. That's not going to work. But we're going to Greece on one of our tours very soon. And when a country fails, it fails. And the whole structure of government fails. If the money system fails, if they're not bailed out, if they are bailed out, it delays the failure for another 6 or 8 months. But still has to face the problem. If General Motors fails, we bail them out, they say, well, we want to stay in business and employ people. Let me see your next car. Let me see your drawings. Is it better than the Toyota? Is it lighter? Is it electrical? Is it lower price? No, and it won't work.
Yes.
If
So
we don't come up with a better car than the Japanese, it won't work if you bail them out. So there's no society that can fix and freeze its social operation. All things change. Even your computer today. Some people get mad at me. They say, well, gee, you want the machines to take over? No, I don't. All the machines control is production and distribution of goods. They do not control people. About 9 or 10 months ago, machines were able to handle 1,000 trillion bits of information per second. No group of humans can do that. I don't care how smart they are. So I'm telling you something. Government will be replaced. People will be moved out and machines moved in. Not a machine takeover. The machines will be assigned to tasks. Their electrical tentacles will be connected to all industries, all transportation, so we get a whole picture of what's happening in the world. The human brain can handle 7 things at one time. Computers can handle 1,000 trillion a second. So, is it a machine takeover? You know, in the old days, your mother used to go, your grandmother used to go to a butcher shop and say, how much is that chicken? The butcher would grab it. It's about 6 pounds. And the person buying it said, it looks more like 4 pounds, right? So they invented a scale. And the scale we trust in most instances. Anyway, the scale is science. And the methods of science apply to government. We don't make decisions in the Venus Project. We do a survey of the Earth and all its research. How much arable land do we have? How much steel? How many factories? How many transport units? And that tells us what the parameters of design are. Today, architects design them all over the place, and your traffic can't move anymore. Everybody gets off at 4 o'clock, and you're stuck there with a bunch of cars in front of red lights. So they make automobiles and buses and trolley cars, and they all have to stop at red lights. If you put your transportation unit 30 feet off the ground, you can bypass all the cross lights without having to stop. But all the buses you turn out jam the highways. They have to stop at a red light. So all the cities of the future will have built-in transportation, art centers, music centers, and have a balanced road economy. That means 1/7 of the population is off every day of the week. Your beaches are never crowded. You don't have to build new bridges and highways. Do you understand that?
yes.
It's very simple.
So maybe it's better question for you. So how you gonna pull out the bankers? You know, the people who work in banks. How they gonna accept your idea?
In the United States today, there are many bank failures. They're failing all over the place. In 1929, the banks failed. But war with Germany, Japan, Spain pulled us out of that recession, not President Roosevelt. We were pulled out of the recession by war. Now we have wars going on and still in the recession. We've never had that before. There's no way to salvage this system. It's on the way out. If you study any system, they always undergo change. You can't freeze a system and hold it that way. And another person got angry at me and said, do you envision machine takeover? I want to tell you something. Taking over a country is a human attribute. No machine has feelings. They don't want to rule you. If you work your computer Saturday and Sunday, they'll say, hey, give me a day off, will you? I'm tired of working all the time. Computers don't feel. If you took your new laptop and smashed it in front of 40 computers, we're going to get you. If it isn't this week or next week, we'll get you. They don't have a gut reaction. Machines have no vision. They don't want to take over. This is Hollywood crap that you see that gives you those notions. You understand when I say machines don't feel? And why? What could we make machines feel? We can do this. We can make machines that look perfectly human. And you can say that my brother-in-law was killed in an airplane crash, and the eyebrows moved to the right angle. And I'm so sorry to hear that. They really won't feel anything. They simulate feelings. And some people say, well, if I know that machines really don't feel, and if I knew that motion pictures and actors could be generated in the future, if I know they generate images, I won't feel. Well, Disney draws pictures of Cinderella. She gets hurt and people cry on drawings. So people do identify with images. Don't think that they don't. So will the machines take over? No. There'll be assigned decision-making in areas where they exceed human. You understand that?
I have a question.
The surgeon hand trembles, 10 tremors per second. Today, precision instruments can move 1/10,000th of an inch and do surgery faster than any human being. So I'll give them about 15 to 20 years. There'll be no doctors, no lawyers, all machine surgery. I don't know if you've updated automation today. They fill hundreds of Coke bottles with a shaft, going in only by one time. And they say, well, can the machine be faster than the designer? It's always faster than the designer. You can't move bottles as fast as machines can. You can't fill them as fast as machines can. So most jobs, if the Venus Project doesn't come into existence, and if we don't kill each other, if we keep installing automation in plants, most people will not have the purchasing power to buy the products turned out, and that's the end of the money system. Whether I do it, whether it's the Venus Project or not, if you understand what I'm saying, if you check the automobile industry, you'll find out there's so many thousand people working there. Today, there's like 40 or 60 people that operate the major equipment. And the automobile is lifted by a machine, and another machine puts the wheels on. And that's happening in all industries, getting rid of people because people might work for $6 an hour, $20 an hour. Machines work for sometimes 20 cents an hour. And that means we'll stop shipping stuff to China. With developed automation, they're getting smaller. We've got cameras today that have no film in them. You just got a chip in there, you put it in there. And it works for days, and the next year or two, they'll have a year on one chip. You understand? So things are changing, and no one can stop that. If you try to stop the progress in America, China will pass us, Spain will pass us, other countries will pass us. So you got to keep on your toes, keep up with technology, and I'm trying to say this to you, that the answers may be in technical areas. What will people do when machines do everything? They go to art centers, music centers, compose, write plays, shoot movies. We don't even know how the retina becomes detached in the eyes. We don't know enough about heart disease, cystic fibrosis. So all of those things is what people will do. And so what will people do? That means the person has nothing. They don't understand that only think you want a job only. If you lose your job, your whole world is shot. Boy, they did a good job.
Mr. Fresco.
I'm trying to tell you that people are educated. They know what to do.
Can we just choose a region in the world that make this happen? It doesn't have to be so grandiose. We have something like 500,000 people listening to you. If all these people get together, maybe we can make your vision come true. It doesn't have to be such a huge city. The whole world situation is crumbling every day. I think that we should kind of act in creating your vision and not making any more movies. We should really get together and make this real.
You want to know whether we can build such a world? Yes, we can, if enough people want it. But if they decide that they don't want the Venus Project, for whatever reason, a lot of people picture a lot of men in gray. You will work in Area D. You, Area K. That's Hollywood. Has nothing to do with the world I'm talking about. Where is it you? What do you want to study? What school would you like to go? We make it available to you. We don't sell anything anymore. We make books available, laptops to everyone. Because the smarter people are, the richer the world. The more deprived they are of information, like when you had slaves in America, you couldn't teach them to read. You were fined if you did that. But once you teach people to read, they begin to ask new questions, and you can't manipulate them. If we had a free society, you wouldn't have a Democrat and Republican Party. You'd have 4,000 different parties. So we live in a world that's very rigidly rigged. If you don't understand that, listen to any politician.
We would build the city now if we had the land and we had the resources to do that with, but we don't at this time. But we're working towards it.
What do we do with the old cities, with the old monuments, with the old bridges? When we build new cities, what happens to the old cities?
Okay.
Do we preserve them as historical? I'm asking
What will we
questions
do
in the middle
with
of
the
that.
old cities? We will level them and mine them for glass and everything. They cost too much to operate, they don't work, traffic jams. It's cheaper to level old cities. Just keep a few of them as museum cities so the kids of the
Which one?
future will know which life used to be.
Which ones?
They're not worth preserving.
But which ones are worth preserving?
We level 90% of the cities. But before we level them, we'll do a study of the game of the new design. When we're through with that, we bring in another team that gives us the negative effects of cities. In other words, if we design a dam to give enough people water, that's one group of people. Then we have another group called the Special Contingencies Department. They come over and tell us, if you build a dam here, 5 years from now, the water table is going to change because you cut out the tributaries. And the beavers will stop building dams. That's going to change the water table. Plants will begin to die on the mountainside. They can extrapolate 5 to 10 years in advance of what will happen with anything you do. And today we build cities right over the land. In the future, it takes nature 1,000 years to make 1 inch of topsoil. So we shave off the topsoil first, put it in soil banks. People don't even know what's valuable today. Let's say we kill each other in nuclear war. And people come from another world, and they want to know what we were like. The only place they grow banks is that thick. And what have they got in there? Dollar bills, $20 bills. Nothing on the history of medicine, science, knowledge should be stored in banks. They're the most secure position. All they got there is certificates of debt. How stupid a civilization we have. It should be the history of medicine, engineering, agriculture, everything that's essential should be stored in banks.
I have a question. How close are you to building an experimental city? And secondly, if political decisions are decisions which concern all people, then the Venus Project is indeed political. So what do you want to do? Do you want to put the scientists in power?
You want the first, how far are we from building the first city?
We could have built it in 1927. It's up to what people know. If they don't know, nothing happens. In other words, if you said, go ahead, build that city, and the population agrees with that, we can do it. But if people don't know about it, they wouldn't follow your suggestion. So it's up to us to get this information out there, talk to people.
Concerning your second question, the Venus Project has a particular agenda and it was particular areas that we want to do it's been planned out in all areas. In city planning, worked on the methods of how to make people and children creative. We have that worked out already. It's not scientists that would run things, because they're just as prejudiced and been just as propagandized as anyone else in this system. It would be people who understand this direction. That's our safeguard in the future, as many people understand this direction.